So this is a persimmon tree that I got from the nursery. And whenever you get these trees, they were 50% off, by the way, so I went ahead and bought it. You see these trees? You see how it's just filled with bark and organic matter and compost, and you can already see the root rot. You see that? So I think they're selling this for 50% off because they know this tree is going to die. I've had so many trees die on me because nurseries use this kind of potting mix, and it just causes root rot, and you can already see it. See that root rot? See that black root right here? It's dying. See? That's root rot. Look at this. That's root rot. Check this out. Okay? That's root rot. And so this is what we're gonna do. We're literally going to remove it all. So we're just gonna do this. Just remove all of it. I'm just gonna keep doing this. I can't do this with one hand. So check this out, guys. See that? Look at that. Look at this. That's root rot. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna trim off some of these roots. Yeah, trim off the excess dead roots, and we'll repot it using 60% sand and 40% peat moss. Here we go. I pruned off some of the roots. Took out a lot of these dead looking ones. Okay. And look at this. It's you smell it. It's has that semi-sewer smell. It's just compost. Look at that. It's like bark. It's filled with bark, and that is a no-no. This is how you kill trees, guys. This is how, when you take home your trees and they do okay for a certain period of time, and they just die on you after like the first, second year, or you plant it in the ground into your clay soils, and this just turns into sewage. And once it starts to really decompose, it will rob all the oxygen in the soil and causing root rot. Okay, you already see evidence that it's already causing root rot. Okay. All right, so this is my mix of 60% sand, 40% peat moss, and this is what we're going to be using. So just going to fill it enough, and then let's put this in here. Probably needs to be deeper, actually. Okay. Go. All right, so here's a compost that I have made. And I made this is an aerobic compost, and I also added mycorrhizae fungi and azos, which is a type of bacteria. And so I'm only going to add just a little bit to this. I'm not trying to fertilize this tree. I'm just trying to inoculate beneficial microbiology to help those roots. And that's it. That's all I do. I'll go ahead and water this. Alright, here is a mini royale cherry tree that I bought from the nursery. And again, I have killed so many cherry trees because of this. So let me take this out. You see at the bottom where it's starting to compost? There's your root rot right there. You have root rot in certain places that's already decomposing because this soil is just filled with bark. Okay, and it's okay, it'll be okay for an entire year, and then suddenly when this becomes to compost, once you take it home, okay, and by the way, this was 50% off, and there's a reason for that. You start taking this home and you start getting this root rot, and especially if you put this in our clay soils, it's just gonna rot. And you'll wonder why after like 2 years, 3 years, your plant just dies and it'll just rot away. So we're gonna get rid of this soil. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and trim these roots. All right, this one was kind of difficult. I had to keep tapping it in order to get majority of the compost material. Okay, this is not what you want, guys. Look at that, it's black. Not what you want for trees. Okay, this is fine for vegetable growing, but not fine for anything that lives over 1 year. And so just got to keep tapping it. I had to do it with 2 hands. And look at that. Then I cut a lot of the roots off. Okay, kind of loosened it up a little bit, and see all the dead roots and stuff like that. Just get rid of it as much as you can. Okay, all right, now I'm just gonna pot this up just like I did with the Fuyu persimmon. Here's another Fuyu. Look at that root rot. Just look at it. See? Look at that root rot. Yep, smells like sewer. So this is a soil that came with the fruit trees that I bought. Look at that. That is sewage. Okay. Look at those roots. Those roots are dying. Whenever you buy trees from the nurseries, check the soil. Because it might look good now, but you put this in the ground, and this is what causes your plants to die 1 to 2 years down the road. All right, here they are. Here's 4 stone fruit trees, and 2 more right here, and here's a Satsuma or tangerine. And so they got the right soil mix now, which is 60% sand and 40% peat moss. Now you can go lighter on the sand. You could replace that with pumice or DG or perhaps perlite. So go and watch Gary Mitsuoka. I'll link his YouTube videos on the description. But we're gonna go ahead and remove some of these leaves, especially on these stone fruits. We're just gonna remove at least 50% of the leaves. Now we have to get rid of at least 50% of this canopy because we don't want this to die from the thing's called transpiration. And so we just got to get rid of half of these, and it's kind of hard to do it with one hand. I do not have my tripod with me, and so just work on it, and I'll show you this is the before and here's the after. I took out at least 50% of its canopy. So there it is, guys. You know, gardening shouldn't be difficult. However, the nursery industry has made it pretty difficult for us to grow things without them dying. And it's unfortunate that that is still the way it is. And so hopefully you learn something from this. So this is not a video to get views. This is a video more for trying to teach you the things that I have learned over the years. I've killed so many trees because of root rot, and I hope that this one particular knowledge can help you get a better green thumb. All right, guys, happy growing. If you have any questions about what we've done over here, let me know in the comments. All right, guys, just to summarize, we bought these trees from the nursery, 50% off. And these are pretty good deals, don't get me wrong. However, I believe it's 50% off for a reason. I believe that they know these roots are rotting, and rather than having to repot it just like we did, they'd rather just try to sell it off to you. Problem is, if you don't know about this, you'll go ahead and plant this in the ground, and especially in our clay soils, it's going to die. So we remove the dirt, or not, it's not called dirt. We remove their potting medium, which is full of bark and compost. We trimmed off some of the roots, especially the ones that were rotting off. And then we replaced the soil with our mix. My mix is 60% sand, 40% peat moss. It is my lazy mix. If you want it lighter, you can put some pumice, you could put some perlite. It's up to you, but these are gonna go in the ground. So the only reason why I would wanna put those other mediums to lighten up the soil is if I'm going to keep them in a pot. But you know, sand or DG is pretty heavy, but this is just going to go in the ground anyway, and so I'm not too particular with the weight of my potting medium. So once we do that, we go ahead and trim off the canopy and the excess branches that we don't want. I trim off at least 60% of the leaves to prevent, I believe it's called transpiration. It's where there's like evaporation off of the leaves, and you don't want. Typically, these will lose their own. Those will drop its own leaves, but I go ahead and remove half of the canopy just to increase the chance of success, making sure that they stay alive. And then what I typically do is I put my compost mix mixed with mycorrhiza and azos. I'll link that in the description as well. Do not use this compost right here, steer manure or anything that's too harsh. This steer manure tends to be filled with sodium. I bought this a long time ago. It's still here. I don't use it anymore, but worm castings work great for these trees. You're not fertilizing these, okay? You want the roots to grow, and so the mycorrhiza and the azos, the microbes in the compost will help these trees thrive in the future. Here are the same plants a week later. You got that Satsuma looking good. Got the persimmons still looking good. And we have, and this is another persimmon. This is the nectarine. Look at those leaves, still looking healthy. But they're about to lose their leaves because it's fall season. This is another peach, still looking healthy. Here's the other one. Here's the cherry. Okay, still looking pretty good. So don't be afraid to go out there and remove the old soil or whatever potting mix that the nurseries have these trees in. If it's filled with bark, you got to replace it with something that is a real soil mix, preferably with majority sand or decomposed granite.